Ah, my sprite's back. Anyways, I'm running out of things to say about bash teams, and the factions these videos cover have become so unbalanced you'd think they were written by the same guy who designed the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So for once in your depressing, cloutless, bitchless lives, you elf team enthusiasts, I will cover an elf team that isn't Dark Elves. Pretty much any bright mode elf team works just fine for the job, but if you hate elves like I do and want your team to die a lot, then I think I found the best compromise. Welcome to Fumbled Guide to Blood Bowl. The Elven Union, or Pro Elves if you're an OG, are the most basic form of Elf Ball. Everyone has a 2-up agility, everyone has strength 3, and everyone's low armored. This culminates into your game plan to never touch another human being ever again. No, I'm serious. Your low armor means you cannot afford to get punched at all, so any punch you do make need to be 2 dice blocks with the block skill. Anything else in your response should be to dodge away one space and force the opposing team to waste their turn's blitz if they really want to hit you. This turns Blood Bowl into essentially the world's most elaborate game of tag. Other player moves to mark you, you run away. They punch you, you die. The only time you should even think about ending your activation within the tackle zone with another player is when every player on your team is dogpiling into the enemy cage on defense. Now your positionals are a bit interesting. Unlike high elves, your elves have less armor, so they're cheaper and more expendable. Because of this, you might actually be able to afford a decent amount of rerolls to start. Might, maybe, possibly. You see, most bash teams roll 2 dice blocks, which can both be rerolled if facing a turnover. Using some basic dice math without any skills in play, you will have about an 11% chance of knocking yourself over and needing to use reroll. That's 2 skulls and or both downs on the dice. But with dodge rolls on an elf team, you just need to not roll a 1. But that's on a single die, which means the probability of needing to use reroll increases to a whopping 16%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but you will feel it often in a game like Blood Bowl, and you have less rerolls in general as an elf team with expensive positionals. Believe me, if not one's there Kryptonite, then as an elf team, the Blood Bowl pitch might as well be built atop a Kryptonite factory. Anyways, back to positionals. Your throwers are linemen with the ability to pass, not much to say here. They pick up the ball on a 2-up, so sure hands are not needed here unless you somehow find yourself in a league where everyone has strip ball. Your catchers are where things actually get interesting. In lore, high elves are rich, so they can afford better armor to be more expensive and snobby. The Elven Union, meanwhile, are making do with less, but as a trade-off, the Elven Union positionals have learned better skills to pay the bills. The catchers are where that starts. High movement and the catch skill are obvious there, but also the nerves of steel skill. Nerves of Steel makes this so any player marking you and fucking with your catch, throw, and intercept attempts can be ignored like the Troids keep putting off. Meanwhile, your catchers are always catching accurate passes on a 2-up no matter what unless your opponent has something weird like Disturbing Presence. I'd also like to point out that unlike the human catcher, this catcher gets to keep his strength at 3 instead of 2, meaning if you wanted to be insanely ballsy, you could give these guys block and build them as backup blitzers. I wouldn't recommend that because of their armor, but I know some of you lunatics are going to do it anyways. I mean, I saw a human team catcher built as a fouling piece in the previous video and worked pretty well, so what do I know? Finally, you have the blitzers. All elf team blitzers do not get strength access, so guard is a tough thing to save for, but if you can get it on an elf team blitzer, it will be worth it since they start with sidestep in addition to block. Guard and sidestep is a devastating combo, so now you have an unstoppable assist who will place themselves wherever they want. Speaking of which, let's talk about level ups. Like how all dwarves get strength access, all elves get agility access. Honestly, this is one of the few teams where block isn't the first skill you want on every player. Block, as a skill, relies on you punching and being punched, which happens a lot in Blood Bowl games, which is why block is such a valuable skill. But as an Elven Union team who wants to get punched as little as possible, dodge is actually the best skill for them. Dodge makes them slightly harder to knock down when punched, and allows them a free reroll when dodging away from an enemy. Granted, dodge skill instantly gets negated by the tackle skill, but unless you play against dwarves extremely regularly, not everyone will have it. Dice math we did earlier shows, you'll use rerolls more often than you'd like, so getting free ones will absolutely help in the long run, and the better odds not falling over when punched is helpful too. After dodge, you have some options. Like I said with the blitzer, you could save up for guard, but tackle is pretty nice too for dash v dash games. Your catchers won't block after dodge, so they can stay standing after getting blitzed in the enemy backline. After that, maybe sidestep, sprint, or surefeet or something like that, but I'll be honest, none of my catchers survived long enough for me to test that. As for throwers, I prefer to give one of the throwers leader and the other one on the ball. After that, Cannoneer is pretty good for those long-range passes, and as previously stated, sure hands if you're really that paranoid with strip ball and pickup rolls. Okay, that's the Elven Union video, basically done, because I refuse to give more in-depth strategic advice here and inspire more people to play like cancer. And no, it's not just because I can't figure it out, shut up!